Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to continue our lesson about this consumer behavior. We talk about the definition and importance and the different features of consumer behavior in our previous lesson. Today we are going to continue the different factors that influence the consumer behavior. We talk about the consumer behavior, the process that the consumer depends on when they decide to buy products, whether a good or a service. So these factors that influence the consumer behavior, including the marketing, personal and psychological, situational and social, and also the cultural factors. Let's start with the cultural factors. For example, it includes the race, the religion, and also the traditions and the values, the common values in the culture that they are common between the different consumers in the same culture. For example, the religion plays an important role for some products. For example, alcoholic consumption and tobacco products are not allowed in many religions. Also, with subcultures include castes, religious sectors, geographical regions, and languages, and people from different subcultures may show different buying behavior. So this affects the sales of the product and the profits of the company and so on. For example, if we talk about the tourism and the hospitality industry, the travel in American culture is different than European culture. For example, in America, they take short vacations. They take many vacations, but short vacations, maybe for 2 or 3 days, but many times. But in Europe, they take long vacations, for example, maybe 2 or 3 weeks or more, but only for one time in summer, for example. So in August, for example, a country like France, a lot of businesses closed in this month because all the country is in vacation. So that's an example for how the cultural factor affects the consumer behavior and consequently the sales and the profits of the company. Second, we have the social factor. Social factor, when we talk about the social factors, we have the family, which is the most influential group, and also the social class, and a broad group sharing similar behavior and values and interests. So a reference group means the reference is a small group of people surrounding the consumer, such as workplace colleagues, club members, friend circle, all this group around the consumer considered a reference group and have influence on this consumer. Also, the family members, such as the parents, influence the children's buying decisions on various products. The role and the status, for example, a person with a higher designation enjoys a higher status. People may purchase products, especially branded products that conform to their roles and their status and their positions and so on. So in our industry, the tourism and hospitality industry, for example, the 5 stars resorts should target the upper income groups, for example, according to the socio-economic status. Third, we have also the psychological factors. Psychological factors contain the motivation, the learning, the beliefs, and attitudes, the perception. When we talk about the learning, it means the experience. The learning occurs through information and experience that you had for a product. For a restaurant, for example, you experienced this restaurant, so you have a learning. So if it's good, you have a positive reaction about this restaurant, so you will go again. You have to tell your friends and family and so on to try this restaurant and so on. Also, the attitude. The consumer develop positive or negative attitudes toward a product which may affect their buying behavior. This attitude takes us to the motives. Motive drive customer to make a purchase. Motives include price, position, love and affection, and comfort and convenience, and so on. Also, the perception. The perception is the impression that consumer forms toward about the image in your mind to this product or service. Then we have the personal factors. Personal factors such as age, which is one of the internal factors, the age, the gender, the education, the income level, the social or societal status with which influence the consumer behavior toward a product. So when we talk about the personal factors, we have to talk about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. The Maslow hierarchy of needs contains many stages about the human needs. From the base, we have to start with the physiological needs. Physiological needs like food, shelter, and clothes, and so on. This is the basic needs for the humans. So in our industry, the tourism and travel and hospitality industry, these needs are very important to fulfill. For example, for foods, if you are traveling to a different country and so on, you have to find a place to have lunch or dinner and so on. Also, you have to find a shelter like a house or a hotel and so on. Also, the clothes, you can't take your old clothes while you are traveling, so you may need a new suit or a new shoes or whatever. So this is basic needs, which is related closely to the industry of tourism and hospitality. Then comes the safety needs. Safety needs, the human needs for security and protection. And also we can see in hotels in these days the electronic door locks, the increased lighting, the fire detections systems, and so on for more security and protection. Then we have the third stage, the social needs. Social needs mean the social and belonging needs, which means the social acceptance and so on. So we can find many resorts or hotels and so on. If you are alone without your family or friends, and so they try to make some social events and so on, so you can find your social acceptance. Then the next stage is esteem needs, which is means the confidence or self-respect. We can find this in the airlines industry, like the some airlines or most of the airlines have the first class and also business class and so on for people who looks for the self-confidence or respect and so on. And finally, the self-actualization needs, which is more by excessive, like for example in the seven stars hotels, but we can find the golf sports for those who needs to make, or horse riding and horse tracks and so on. This is a more self-actualizing needs. This is the personal factors. Then we have the marketing factors, which focus on the marketing mix. We know the 4 Ps. These variables greatly influence the consumer buying behavior, like the product features, the packaging of the product, the design of the product. All these factors affects the buying decision. Also, the price of the product influence the buying decision, the place of the product, the location where a product is available, types of channels, area coverage. If I need some product but it's located in a far place, I can go to this place and so on. So the location also is an important factor for the buying decision. So I can buy another product which is near to me. Finally, the promotion, the sales promotion, the publicity, the advertisement, the offers and discounts that the company makes also affect the buying decision. So this is the marketing factors, the 4 B's: product, price, place, promotion, which is have a great influence on the buying decision. Finally, the situational influence. Situational influence, when we talk about this, there is the physical surroundings around the consumer. These include the store location, the decor, the layout, etc. influence the buying behavior. Also, the social surrounds refer to the people who are involved with the customer while making the purchase. If you have your friends with you or your family and so on. Time factor, also customers may make different decisions depending on the different times. And the momentary conditions, the buying customer's mood and conditions at the time of purchase may affect buying decision. Then the consumer behavior undergoes a constant change, which means the consumer behavior undergoes a change over a period of time depending upon changes in age, education, income level, etc. For example, kids may prefer the colorful dresses, but as they grow up as teenagers and young adults, they may prefer trendy clothes. Also, we said that the consumer behavior varies from consumer to another, as all consumers behave differently. Differences in consumers' behavior are caused by individual factors such as the customer's nature or his lifestyle or culture and so on. Also, the consumer behavior varies from region to region and from country to country. Consumer behavior vary across states and regions and countries. For example, the behavior of urban consumers is different from that of rural consumers. Normally, the rural consumers are more conservative, traditional in their buying behavior. Then, the important to the marketeers. Marketeers need to have a good knowledge of the consumer behavior. They need to study the various factors that we talk about that influence the consumer behavior of the target customers. The knowledge of consumer behavior enables these marketeers to take appropriate marketing decision for their marketing strategy. Also, the consumer behavior leads to purchase decision. Search for information is a common consumer behavior. Consumers cannot purchase goods and services if they are unaware that a good or service exists. So, when a consumer decides to buy a certain item, his decision must be based on the information he has gathered about that what products or services are available to fulfill his needs. There might be a product available that would be better suited to the consumer's needs, but if he is unaware of the product, he will not buy it. Also, the consumer behavior varies from a product to another product. Consumer behavior is different for the different products. There are some consumers who may buy more quantity of certain items and very low quantity of some other items. Also, the consumer behavior improves the standard of living. The buying behavior of the consumers may lead to higher standard of living. The more a person buys the goods and services, the higher is the standard of living of this consumer. But if a person spends less on goods and services, despite having a good income, they deprive themselves of higher standard of living. Finally, the consumer behavior reflects the status. Consumer buying behavior is not only influenced by status of a consumer, but it also reflects it, which means those consumers who own luxury cars and watches and other items are considered by others as persons of higher status. We have an example for the role of advertising in consumer behavior, as advertising plays an important role in influencing and modifying the consumer behavior in the following ways, like the consumer choice, what does the consumer buy according to the advertisement, also through the highlighting the product special features and aspects and so on, and how it is differentiated from the other competitors by the features, specifications, or price. Also, it influences the purchase quantity. How much does the consumer buy? By using special offers, discounts, free gifts, and so on. Also, advertisement influence frequency of purchase. How often does the consumer buy? For example, the consumed products such as soft drinks, ice cream, chocolates have created ads that can influence the purchase frequency. Also, advertisement influence the timing of the purchase when to buy, as it serves as a reminder to buy goods and services, especially seasonal products. For example, marketeers may advertise heavily before Diwali or any occasion like the New Year, so that the customers make planned purchases. And finally, also the place of purchase. The advertisement influence this where does the customer buy. Also, the lifestyles. Ads or advertisements influence the lifestyle related to clothing, eating, social networking, etc. And they develop the attitudes. They help to a positive attitude toward a brand. Creative and convincing messages encourage people to use these new products. And finally, in the influence the social behavior, as the social awareness campaigns such as concerns for girl child anti-noise pollution and anti-dairy campaign makes people socially more conscious. So now you know what's affecting your shopping choices, and we know what is consumer behavior and why it is important in marketing, and how the companies have to study the consumer behavior to make their marketing decision and marketing strategy, and so on. So see you inshallah in the next topic. Goodbye and good luck.